Do you think that this is gonna be the hardest issue for Christians? I would say, I mean, apologists, evangelists, I kinda lump it all into one because if you're gonna evangelize today's culture, you're gonna have to know some apologetics, at least the basics. So, if we're trying to spread the message of Christ, do you think that this issue, the whole sexuality, let's just couch it as that, is gonna be the hardest issue for us to deal with?
I'm going to say no.
Nice,
Um,
okay.
and so I don't know if you expected that answer, but I was going to say no. I think
I
what's
really didn't have anything I was expecting. I was really interested to see your thoughts on this, so go
Yeah,
ahead.
I would say again right now in our current culture and probably for the next 1 to 3 years at least, probably the more significant issue is going to be politics, Christian
Mhm.
nationalism, and Trumpism because we have there is a Christianity is dealing with a wake after Trump. That I think that is more pressing on us right now, and I think this plays into it. I think is kind of underneath that heading. But when we talk about the church love, so let me just, this is a conversation that I've been having recently, love to get your insight on it. So typically us white male evangelicals, if you will, even if you don't want to wear that label, we've automatically lumped ourselves in. People that are watching this are already like, you're already in that category whether we like it or
Mhm.
not, are going to say that what we tend to focus on in our ministry is saving the individuals, preaching the gospel, just like I talked about, saving the individual. And while you and I would both agree with that message, that's kind of what gets us in the camp of evangelical. But we have to acknowledge that there are some things going on in our society which still need us to be able to speak into and still need us to redeem at a Christian church level that may not necessarily wait for everybody that's involved to be saved personally and then find that redemption and continue to work towards that. So what I mean by is if we have the opportunity to serve and love a homeless person or provide a shelter for or something along those lines, working with the poor, we should be doing that even if we haven't saved somebody's soul. And I think what happens oftentimes, particularly in the white evangelical church, is we focus a whole lot on personal salvation and sanctification, which we hope will lead to a change culturally. And we kind of forget dealing with the larger cultural issues because we say, no, no, we're focused on the individual salvation. And I think that we need to start adjusting some of our strategy to make those more equal. And so I would say, white evangelicals have focused a lot on individual salvation and less on kind of what's going on socially, social justice, if you will. And I think we need to start to bring some of those in line. I would see that as almost more of a focus, more of a threat. If we keep going in this direction, I think we're going to become irrelevant because the cultures are going to say, look, you guys aren't doing anything at all. And why would I believe anything you say?
Yeah, or why would I wanna be part of what you're doing?
Yeah,
Because 'cause you're
why
not
do I
doing
part of what
anything
you're doing?
important.
Right.
Yeah, here's what I would say. So in my interactions with young people, I was a youth minister for a while, and obviously I'm still in the church, so I deal with young people as well. Dealing with young people, reading about Generation Z and stuff like that, the one of the points that I get from them is they're looking to make a difference that has global effects.
Mhm.
And I think it stems from obviously, we can see what's going on in Russia right now in the blink of an eye. We don't have to wait for next week's newspaper. We don't have to wait for the ambassador to come back and tell us. Like we see it on YouTube, we see it on Facebook. It's all over Reddit and these sort of things. And I probably sound old because there's probably new, cooler means of social media platforms that I'm unaware of, but whatever.
TikTok and yeah,
Yeah, I'm not part of TikTok.
me either really.
So I hope it goes away. So I see that they want to make those big cultural changes, which I think is a good thing. And this is where I agree with you. I think the church is dropping the ball where we have the message that says, here's how you make the big social justice change. Now, I would only caveat that with I think the phrase social justice has been hijacked by people in our culture and has been given a very false and bad definition.
Right.
So whether you want to use the term or not, that's neither here nor there for this conversation. But just to say, do you want to help change the culture and bring in like just having the conversations? What is justice?
Right.
Like what do you think justice is and where does that come from? And those conversations all lead back to the question of God. So I think the church has a fantastic opportunity to reach the younger generation by coming at it like that and saying, "Look, we're the ones who have the real understanding, the right worldview to see here's the problem that's going on in the culture, here's the injustice, and here's some things that we can do, but not just talking about it, actually doing it. And this is
Right.
something that we kind of finished off the podcast when I came on your channel
Hmm.
of talking about is like, what is the church doing, to stop the abortion clinics? What is the church doing to help in the mental health field? Right. And,
Yep.
and helping those people to actually get not just you need more faith counseling, but actually biblical counseling from people who are medical professionals who understand mental health, but also have a Christian worldview. What are
Totally.
we doing in that area? What are we doing in the broken homes? The single, the single parent households,
Right.
which statistically, and this is undeniable, statistically is the thing that is almost a guarantee for the children to become criminals, bad in college, get locked up, fall into drugs, fall into prostitution. Like, why? Because there's only one parent in the household.
Right.
Just go look up the research,
Yep.
So what are we doing for those things? Where are the men in the church? You're about to get me on a hobby horse right here. Where are the men in the church who are standing up saying, look, I'm going to be a leader, not
Right.
just for my family, but also for the larger culture here, for the fatherless sort
Totally.
of a deal. So
Yeah.
I agree with you there that it's a both and, we need to
Totally.
focus on the individual, but we also as a church corporately need to be confronting the culture on these issues in a real way, because here's what I always tell people. Our young people are being inundated with voices
Yes.
from the culture,
Mhm.
and they don't know what to believe. And
Right.
but they have a heart of compassion, which is good, right? And they go, "Well, I want to make a difference. I want to help people. I want to love people." The church is silent, and these people are saying, "Here's the way forward." Okay, well, if those are my only options, I'm going to pick one and go with it.
Right.
You see what I mean? And so that to me is frustrating because it's like you got to start talking, church.